This is live at around 6 from New World Jewelers, take 4.
All right, I'm Justin Bortz. This is Crystal Helms Hardinger, and we are in New World Jewelers, and we have some treats for you today. But before we get started, we've already been through the mill trying to get this video done. First it was a live feed, and it kept going in and out. So we need a drink. So I'm pouring Crystal and I some of this delicious vodka here. That was a good gift from my friend Chris Cambria. Pouring a couple shorties. There we go. Cheers.
Cheers. Toast.
Not too shabby. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about a little story here.
I'm going to tell you a little story here, fella.
Back in 1986, shortly after I graduated from the Gemological Institute of America, which was in Santa Monica, California, we moved up to Seattle, Washington, and I got my first retail jewelry store job in a place called Bevan's Fine Jewelry. And I'm working there for maybe a couple weeks, and this young employee who was working there part-time came in one night, and he brought with him this lovely goddess. And as soon as I saw her, I knew I had to have her. She was beautiful, and it was just something so alluring about her. So I asked the young man, get permission from your father to see if he'll allow you to sell it to me, and he did. And he sold her to me for $160. Here she is. I'm going to introduce you to her. And this started my whole romance with vintage watches. She's a mid-1940s German phase of the moon watch. And as soon as I bought her, as soon as I had her, then that started this whole love of vintage watches. I would watch old movies just to see the cool watches people were wearing. And then I started finding them places, and my love for vintage watches just continued. In fact, the second job I worked at in Seattle was Carol's Fine Jewelry, which opened in 1895, and they had this old dresser in the back of the store that was full of all kinds of old stuff. So I went exploring, and I found all these really cool old vintage watches in there, and I restored them. One of the beauties that I restored was this cool alarm watch from the 1950s. I call it my James Bond watch. It's an Elgin, and it's got a cool wind-up alarm that sounds just like an alarm clock. So then we moved back to Reading in 1987. I opened New World Jewelers. It wasn't called New World Jewelers yet, but I opened the jewelry store in June of 1989. But it was always my dream to have a special case of vintage watches, because honestly, I don't think there's anything cooler than a vintage man's watch from the 1950s and earlier. I have in my display, I have a Jaeger LeCoultre. It's a solid 14 karat gold, and Jaeger LeCoultre is from the 1940s, and it is one of the top watches you can get. It's right up there with Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet and Rolex. So if you want to come in and see that, and I'll even open it up for you and show you the inside of the watch, because these old watches, they have such character. They've got a heartbeat, they've got gears, they have rubies at all their friction points, and they're really amazing. And the story about it, this is interesting, Benris is apparently the first wristwatch, and what it was, in World War I, the Benris was making pocket watches, and they started making wristwatches for guys in the Army to have, so they could have a watch on their wrist. And that's the story I've heard is how wristwatches began. I actually have a really cool Benris that is from the 1940s here that you can see. So my romance with watches started there, it continued, and now you can come in and share that romance with me and check out these cool vintage watches. And I do have a couple ladies too, and they're really sweet. I've got an Omega from the 1940s that's solid 14 karat gold and has diamonds around an octagonal face. It is gorgeous. But now I'd like to move on to the second part of our presentation tonight. And Crystal Helms Hardinger, the lovely lady here in pink, she is the designer of this whole store, New World Jewelers. She also designed Judy's on Cherry, and she designed the Wind Down Cafe, amongst many, many, many other lovely houses and other businesses that she has created an incredible interior. But I have to say, this is the best one, isn't it, Crystal?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So Crystal wants to...
Most fun.
Thank you. Crystal is going to tell you about something that we are moving into to help our little four-legged friends.
Yeah, so what? You must stop in for a cappuccino. It's my favorite thing at the end of the day, I must tell you that. So, number one, that's an absolute. So what we have here today for your animals, whether it's cats, dogs, bunnies, whatever it may be, particularly your rescues, we have some crystals that'll go on your dog's collars. For instance, amethyst creates a feeling of well-being, gets rid of negative energy, keeps a positive energy around them.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second, Crystal. We all have an energy field that surrounds us. It's like a globe, okay? It's like a circle that surrounds us. And we all emit electricity and energy. It's measurable.
We are energy.
We are energy, and it actually can be measured. And when you bring a crystal into your energy field, it emits a frequency that aligns with our various energy centers. And it's same with animals too. Boom.
Okay. So, especially for your rescues, because of where they're coming from, they may have some issues. So generally what happens when you come in, knowing your rescue, knowing your animals, you'll come in and you'll take a look at what looks brightest to you, what feels best to you, whether it's rose quartz that dissipates and creates love and gets rid of bad feelings of anxieties in love.
Especially if your dog or animal's a rescue, right?
It really, because you don't know their situation. It really is, it's real science. It really does work, and it really helps their energy field. Tiger's Eye, which eliminates anxiety and fear.
Also grounds you.
And it does ground you.
That's probably what it does. It grounds you and helps you get over those higher vibrational
It's the
troubles.
Fear. Yeah, fear and anxiety. It really
Gotcha.
helps you with that. And it gives you a bit of luck. So if you got a little klutzy dog, it'll give him a bit of luck. So
you can name him Lucky.
Yes, exactly. So do come in, take a look. All of these crystals come with a ring that you can see that'll go around your dog's collar so that it can stay there and stay on him. And it'll definitely create, or her, yes, or her. And they're incredibly moderately priced at $40. We wanted to make sure that when you come in here and take care of yourself, that you can take care of your animals. So that's really the presence of what we went forward with here.
And what we're going to offer for the next week, from today till next Live at 5, is I will let you take one of these crystals home on a trial basis, and you can try it with your critter and see how it does. So is there anything else that we want to talk about?
I think that's pretty good. Of course, we've done a wonderful display, just part of the whole package here.
Crystal did this cool display. She does cool stuff.
Yes.
So, remember, warm is the new cool. Keep it loose, keep it real. This is Justin Bortz and Crystal Helms Hardinger from New World Jewelers.